I've been having a lot of subroutines running in the last 2 days that have been doing some form of aesthetic check. As if I'm walking outside, I'll see somebody and then I'm supposed to acknowledge them from a specific concept of attractability. This is not something that is native to me. The understanding of what is considered to be conventionally attractive or aesthetically pleasing about the human physique or the manner in which they look, it's not something that is natural as far as I am concerned when it comes to evaluating somebody's value or attractability. If I cannot have a reasonable conversation with someone, it doesn't matter what they look like. If I cannot actually engage in a conversation that lets me know that somebody's going to offer me some compatibility, they can look any way they want, they can smell any way they want, but if I can't have some actual stimulation psychologically, then it's almost a detriment. It's almost a detriment to be so well packaged and to be so incapable of following through. I'm reading this book right now, an early investigation into the history of banking and the financial sector in the United States, written by somebody that at the time was acknowledged as having authority on the subject, somebody who is rather provocative in his writing style, which is a good thing as far as I'm concerned because it's reaffirmed the chastisement in terms of my tone and any approach I've taken previously or more contemporarily is completely unwarranted. I haven't said or done anything that has been more or less provocative than other people that have been more or less reviled. But what is concerning is that he mentions that as recently or as historically as 1912, that a substantial amount of what was considered to be the revenue and the monetary command of the financial sector had to do with promotion, underwriting fees, but also the understanding of taking a certain amount of stock earnings or even the actual stock and being somehow entitled to it because of promotion. He also talks about the history of underwriting and the concept of how one ended up in a position to be able to provide underwriting on securities. Now, one of the concerns I've had is that for years is that rather than acknowledging the merits of my charges or my reports for what they may reveal about compliance regarding federal agencies and or actual crimes and providing me with resources commensurate with the profundity of those crimes, including people in the legal profession or people that might be investigators in those respective fields, some of which necessarily require certain kinds of certification and specialized knowledge in order to be able to deal with things safely. That what's happened is somebody thought they would keep me contained and hidden away in one manner while put on display for ulterior motives, presumably educational, and use what I'm doing as some sort of illegal underwriting specific to aspects of the insurance sector. And this has been completely disingenuous and this has been completely unsuccessful. What has been brought up for me right now is a consideration of the concept of mental health. And the question being, if we're in a situation where we have refused to acknowledge that people's actual intangible capital is allowed to be expropriated and or allowed to be acquired by others and created as products that somebody can then claim they have exclusive right to regarding royalties, as a private person in the form of a corporation, then what part does mental health play in the assessment or valuation, i.e., promotion of that product? Did they intentionally take people that were actually very highly sought after in terms of certain skills or capabilities and allow other people that did not have the same skills and capabilities but were very good at a specific promotional tactic to create profiles or analysis, attempting to create them at the most discounted rate possible by characterizing them with as many flaws as possible? It's like when you go to Nordstrom Rack versus Nordstrom, right? It was defective. Well, who is qualified to determine the defect? How many people are just doing very, very bad promotion and overinflating the actual value of their underwriting? I would never have accepted what I did as underwriting. I would never have accepted the people I knew as nothing more than an underlying asset for somebody else to try to hijack and try to work on another level while they were being parroted with things that other people were doing based upon their actual skills, talents, and capabilities. It's completely disingenuous and it's a complete waste of time in the long run. And now we have a situation where we've so focused on aesthetics and we've so focused on packaging that we just refused to follow up on years and years and years worth of intentional delinquency. In order to what? How many people's stock are getting an underwriting valuated at what I've been able to produce myself in total isolation, but without the negativity or the bad vibes that they put onto my actual name? I just would really like for you to finally give me a report. I would really like for you to finally give me an accounting of how much you assumed other people would be valuated at in your sex trade specifically by being able to wear around the illegally expropriated intangible property I once had before you decided to slander me with a mental health diagnosis in order to artificially depreciate me and make me available at a unsustainably discounted rate. We are kind of low on time. You understand? By virtue of not providing me with this, you guys don't have any credit for whatever it was you intended to get away with over this weekend to post next week.